Straw Hut Media.
So maybe try coming closer just to see if we talk at the same time, and then does it sound like it's still?
Wait, hold on. Let me start talking. Yeah, you start to talk over me. Start talking. Say something.
I'm talking over you right now, so that you still hear.
That sounds a little better.
On last week's episode, we had Garcelle Beauvais from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Part 1 of Betrayal Secrets. But part 2.
What's up, y'all?
What are you doing? I'm trying to stay quiet. I'm like kind of intrigued by this. Like, what's happening?
It's Confess Your Mess. And yes, we are having a part 2 today of Betrayal Secrets.
Why? Because we've got Brandi Glanville on the program.
Yes, another Real Housewife. And listen, it was hot. It was juicy secrets. And of course, we talked a lot about not just Beverly Hills, about Potomac.
She is an open book.
Yeah.
She's an open book, and she's unfiltered, which is very on brand because she has a couple of books that you need to buy. We're going to tell you about those later on. And you also need to listen to her podcast, Brandi Glanville Unfiltered. But yeah, it was a juicy one. There was nothing she wouldn't talk about.
Nothing at all. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. Confess your mess.
Shall we do it?
I think we shall.
It's time for another round of Confess Your Mess. We're super excited about this week. The word mess just is synonymous with our next guest, but she might be here to clear the air. We're going to give her a chance because I think there are two sides to every story, and she's going to share hers today. You might know her and love her or hate her from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Maybe you listen to her podcast, Brandi Glanville Unfiltered. I guess that kind of gave it away, didn't it?
I think so.
Here is our guest this week, Brandi Glanville. How are you?
Hey, I am crazy right now. I'm like moving, and I am legitimately, literally a mess, literally and figuratively now.
So my intro wasn't completely off. You are a polarizing figure. You're one of those characters that you either love or you hate. I feel like there's no middle ground with you. But we're gonna have so much fun today. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of Confess Your Mess, though, a couple bit of housekeeping things.
Yes, quite a bit. So first of all, if you are a loyal messenger, you can really show your loyalty by going to Apple Podcasts, rating 5 stars, leaving a comment, subscribing, all those good things, and telling a friend, telling an enemy, telling your neighbor, whoever you want. We would really appreciate it. But also, if you want to submit your secret, go to confessyourmess.us, and you can submit your secret. You can also leave a voice note, and it can be anonymous, and we will play it live on air. And that would just be really exciting for us because we haven't had a voice note yet, and we're waiting for it, but we're really excited about this episode. The theme of this episode is a continuation of last week's episode, because since we're interviewing a former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know, Real Housewives betrayal is very prevalent.
It's a thing.
So the theme for this week is Betrayal Part 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Brandi knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah.
I think so. But Brandi, before we get started, you know how this works. We're going to share some secrets and confessions from our listeners and our messengers, and then we're going to react in real time. We haven't read these. I have no idea what they are. So you're going to hear them for the first time when we do. And then at the end of this, you're going to confess something of yours, maybe a little secret, some mess that's going on in your life that you haven't confessed anywhere else. It's exclusive to our show. But to test that you're prepared, that we can actually trust you with our messengers, we're going to do just a really quick thing to start things off. And if you pass this test, we're good to go. If you don't pass, we have no idea what's going to happen. We'll probably still do the pod because we don't have a backup plan. So here it is. We want to know one thing in your life that might be a mess, but that you still can't say no to. This is time for you to divulge your mess, but yes.
Oh, Chardonnay, bitches. Oof, we all know drinking and tweeting. It's that, I don't know. I love her and I hate her, but we're besties and she's my worst enemy, but it's a mess for sure.
Wait, do you like an oaky or a buttery Chardonnay?
I'm kind of more of a buttery. I don't like that oaky wood. And I'm starting to quit Chardonnay and go to Sauvignon Blanc, so I'm cheating a little. But either way, they're both bitches.
My fiance is a big Sauvignon Blanc
I
fan.
love a good New Zealand Sauv.
It's a Scarborough. Have you had that? I love some Starburst, like decent.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's literally my favorite. Oh my gosh! And first of all, it's like $12.99 at the store.
It's not too expensive.
It is
it's not too
so
cheap.
good. It's crisp.
It's
it has
so
like this
good.
nice citrus note. I was because they have Kim Crawford and they have like these other brands. Oh my gosh! Yes.
I love you, and I'm on the same exact page. My store is $14.99, but it's like that good. You're not spending too much. But it's so good, and I like it better than Kim Crawford.
You know, she goes to like Bristol Farms or something then. That's what she just told me.
Or like Gelson's.
I do not. I'm a Ralph's girl, but it's just more expensive in Sherman Oaks. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
But you passed.
You passed. And
you did great.
You know, we're going to get into these secrets, but we are also, we have been watching the Beverly Hills reunion. Have you been watching that?
Oh, girl, yes, of course.
So we'll get into that mid-show, but let's dive into some secrets. So we haven't seen these, like AJ said, and the theme for this week is Betrayal Part 2. So here we go. The first secret, geez, there's a lot in front of the secrets. Okay, anonymous female California. I'm a married mother of 2 and have been having an affair for the past 6+ years.
Ooh.
Married my high school wait a minute. 6+ years?
That's a long
I'm
affair.
sorry. Me personally, I'll finish the secret in a second, but me personally, I could not hold on to that and lay by my partner for that long. Like 1 year would be long enough for me to be like, I'm sorry, I'm cheating on you. Okay.
Yeah, she's just starting to question it 6 years later.
Also, you could do a year of that?
No, I couldn't.
Come
I'm saying
on.
I could. Anyway, okay. Married my high school sweetheart, been together for almost 14 years. So there's lots of history here, y'all. The man I've been having an affair with is a mutual friend of ours from the same high school me and my husband met at. Oh my gosh. No plans on stopping the affair. It's been working out wonderfully.
Well, it's not working out wonderfully if you feel like you have to confess it to us right now.
Right? So I think she's bragging. I don't think she's confessing.
Right.
I feel like she's
That
bragging
definitely
on
sounded
it.
like a brag.
She's happy. She can indeed 2 different ways, and she's not mad about it.
That's interesting. But don't you think it's pretty common, though, Brandi, if you are going to be cheating on somebody that you've been with for a long time, first and foremost, high school sweethearts might sound like the dream situation. However, I find that oftentimes high school sweethearts, they come to a point in their life where they realize they never explored. They never saw anything else. They never tried anything else. And then they start to regret it, but maybe they have 1 or 2 kids. She has 2, I believe. And then they're looking at that other one that maybe got away in high school.
But why is she going back to high school? She needs to go explore the world. She's going back to the same pond from when she was 18. What are you doing, lady?
Yeah, that's a little
small town.
It has to be a small town, and the crazy part for me is it doesn't make it better or worse, but it does kind of make it worse for me that it's a mutual friend, because then you're crossing multiple boundaries. If it was somebody who was a random person you met at a bar, they had good D, and you're like, wow, I'm hooked, and 6+ years later, that random guy from the bar, he works in town or whatever. But the fact that it's a mutual friend, they're just the friend is betraying the husband's trust. And it's so.
It also tells me that, and
She's
Brandi,
a
maybe
bad, horrible person, honestly. I just feel like if you can do that to not only your husband, but your children, because that does affect your children.
Oh, yeah, the children.
And this mutual friend. I mean, she is a mess.
Well, yeah,
she's not a good person.
It tells me that in some way, shape, or form, she and this other guy are getting off on this. Because
of course.
It's easy to think about the sexual connection, and that can happen like that, right? And that makes sense. I get that. But to be in social settings together, to maybe go to a baseball game together, out to dinner, and you're doing this because I've had this happen to me. I was in a relationship for about 4 years, 10, 12 years ago, and my partner was sleeping with my best friend behind my back. And I found out on a trip that the 3 of us were on in Toronto. We were there for Gay Pride. He was in a different room. My partner and I had a room together, and they were both really drunk. And I had been on antibiotics for something. I had a stomach bug or something, so I wasn't drinking.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, yeah, y'all are really lit tonight, and you're being a little different. And I was very sober, so I noticed things differently.
Yeah.
And for the second time in my life, I checked my partner's phone, and they were having a whole conversation that day about sneaking away and having sex behind my back and laughing about it.
Wow.
I think it's pretty common that people cheat with people they know or best friends. I mean, and it's horrible and it's disgusting, but it does happen more often than not that it's someone you know that you cheat with. And I feel like they find it like erotic in some way because they have this secret, and that's great. But
of course.
you're hurting so many people. So it's just,
Right.
I've never cheated. Just a dick move. I don't know. I don't like that lady.
Just get out of the relationship.
Well, I'll say, Brandi, for us on this podcast, me specifically, though, I always say I don't judge. So normally I don't judge when you confess your secrets. However, what got me with this one, if anonymous female is listening, it's just the bragging at the end.
Yeah.
It's been working out wonderfully. I can try to give you a pass and try not to judge what you've done, even if I am feeling some type of way. But it's been working out wonderfully. Then it just feels like you're not confessing. You're literally just getting on here and you're like,
bragging.
I'm having my cake. I'm eating it too. I'm getting eaten too. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Like, okay, lady, next. Thank you,
yeah,
next.
honey, don't choke on that cake.
Right. Okay.
All right, next.
The next secret, their name is the bucket list bitch.
Okay.
Female, Connecticut. Wow, it's a long one. Okay, she says, while my brother's baby mama was living with us, I would put a spell on her every time she left the room to get them to break up and get her out of my house because I couldn't stand her. I realized none of my spells were working because I was accidentally putting the spell powder in my mom's shoes instead of hers.
Wait, spell powder?
So are they practicing like witchcraft?
Yeah, okay.
In my mom's shoes instead of hers, on my nephew's first birthday, I quickly made a nasty spell to make her do something so outrageous she'd never be welcomed in my house again. I sprayed it all over her in my brother's room while they were out. Later that night, my mom runs in the house screaming that she's calling the police because my brother's baby mama tried to attack her and attacked my brother so badly he was bleeding. I go downstairs trying to hide my excitement when the police ask me if I can help her pack her things so they can escort her out. I grinned ear to ear and replied, absolutely. She hasn't stepped foot in my house since. Oops. So her mom got attacked.
This is witchcraft.
Wow.
This is witchcraft.
This is our first witchcraft confession.
I'm
Think about
scared to
witchcraft.
say anything. I don't. You just scare me.
Yes. And she's from Connecticut?
From Connecticut.
Which isn't that far from Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Which is where
Salem.
Salem is.
Oh, right. Ooh. That is a shady lady, but okay. I mean, I wouldn't like that if the lady's pregnant or baby mama. I mean, you're gonna see that lady again at some point because they're always family, right? Like you're family
Right.
till you die. So all you did really was break up, like you broke up a relationship, and then I don't know. I feel like when you have kids together, you're gonna see them forever.
Yes. My mom and dad still hate each other 30 years later, but they have to still be around each other. Do you believe in witchcraft or any of the supernatural type of stuff?
I do. I'm too afraid to say I don't, but I do believe in I believe in crystals. I believe there's powers. I feel like manifestation, you say something enough, like you can really make it happen. But it scares me. I'm a scaredy pants.
I believe in manifestation and those things, and I believe in all of it. It's just for me. Well, okay, except psychic. Psychics confuse me because I'm like, anyway, I'm not going down
I
that
think
road.
some psychics will. He's also the son of a preacher.
I'm a preacher's kid,
there's
so it gets
that.
complicated.
He's also probably just afraid to say it.
No, psychics really, no, my best friend goes to, or she used to back in the day go to a psychic or whatever. And I was just like, I would pass by the psychic and I would sometimes like drunkenly pass by when we were in Hollywood. It's like, oh, did you know that we weren't going to come in and then just keep walking? It's just, I don't know. It is what it is. But okay, so for this secret though, I guess the betrayal is she technically betrayed her brother because she just didn't like the baby mama. So she betrayed her brother and the brother probably doesn't know. And she kind of, I guess it's just a betrayal for the whole family because she broke up a relationship. And what sucks about this, though, is if it's a baby mama, there's a child involved, too.
You're betraying the child.
And if that's your brother, like, you're not thinking about your nephew or your niece. And it's...
They're selfish.
Yeah.
I will give her credit for the, interesting approach, though.
Right.
Like witchcraft.
Yeah,
I wouldn't...
Right. Yeah. I mean... Listen, I feel like she put her entire family in harm's way when she wanted something really bad to happen. You got to be specific. Just not to my mom, not to my brother, So, I mean, because that, I don't know. But you know what? Kudos for her. She got what she wanted. That's it.
There it is. Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish
when
for.
When you manifest, according to Brandi Glanville, and this is really great advice, if you're going to manifest something, be very, very specific.
You really should.
Specific.
And
just last week, we had Garcelle Beauvais on our pod, and she recently on, I think it was season finale, or maybe it was episode 1 of the reunion, she said, "Who's Carlton?" She sat there, she was so confused.
Oh, yeah.
She's from the OG. She's like an OG like you.
She had one season, so I don't think a lot of people might, if she didn't watch back in the day, she might not have I was like, is she being shady or does she really not know? So what did she say?
Yeah. What about this is crazy because it's interesting because you just assume that all the housewives know each other, but some of you, like you and Garcelle, never overlapped. She's only been there for a couple of seasons now. She never overlapped with Carlton. And they're doing this sort of thing with Bravo now where they're doing like these week-long trips and they're bringing in housewives from different casts, right? And it's interesting because they just brought in Cynthia Bailey for this one that's coming out soon, or is about to come out now, I think. But she's not on Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore. It seems like it doesn't really matter. So what about doing like a season or a special of every single housewife who's ever been on Beverly Hills or New York or Atlanta? Do you think that's something that Bravo would consider? Would it make sense?
Yeah, I think Bravo's switching it up. I've heard about those shows going on. I have no comment, but yeah, they're going on. And I think that they're realizing people don't really love change. They want to see the people that they know really well from the past. And you don't always have to bring a newbie on, to change it up. You really don't. I feel like people, they like the recipe. They want it there. Because the second they were like, oh, we hate her, we want her to go, then they take her off. And then they're like, oh, wait, we need her back. So it's like, they love to hate you. And then when they get rid of you, they're like, wait, where'd you go? We need to hate her. So
yeah, that's actually...
That makes sense.
That's a really good point because sometimes, there are some characters that have been so hated over the years. You being one of them, Lisa Vanderpump being one of them. I think I can think of Phaedra for sure being one of them. Vicky Gunvalson's gone
you
now.
You think people hated Phaedra? I loved Phaedra.
No, I love Phaedra. That season, the way things went down, it seemed like
No, I think.
But as a viewer, it seemed like she could never come back from that, right? It seemed like the biggest betrayal, and I've loved Phaedra forever. Ever since she had the little prayer towel and she said, "Fix it, Jesus,"
Phaedra had the best read. She could read somebody down, just so fast, so quick,
and
so witty.
You make a really good point, though. It's very rare that nowadays somebody new comes onto a cast and really makes an impact. For a while,
they're one and done. They're in and out.
Yeah, I think maybe Dorinda Medley or a Portia Williams, when they came on, it was early enough in the run that people had time to fall in love with them. I think about more modern and I don't know Garcelle. But I've known Garcelle for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I think I'm rooting for her on Beverly Hills. But I think Kathy Hilton is a good example. But
she's been on the show and
Kathy Hilton works because there's so much backstory with Kim and Kyle that now she's filling in pieces of the puzzle that we haven't had as viewers for so many years.
But then it just depends because I think Potomac is doing a really good job of introducing some new characters.
But they're still early enough that they're able to.
True.
Yeah, it's a fairly new franchise.
True.
So it's they're still finding their footing. I miss Monique. I'm not going to lie. I really miss her. I just loved how badass she thought. Fuck, she had a bird that she would take care of. She had a bird.
T'Challa. Yeah.
T'Challa. I love T'Challa. I was like, it's just, but I forgot what I was saying.
Well, can I tell you, Brandi, I'm glad you brought up Monique because my fiance and I have been having an argument for 2 years over Monique and Candace. Right? Obviously, Monique's gone. Candace is still there. I've been Team Candace for so long, but not because I think that she's this wonderful person. I think she's a hurt person, and I think she's childish, and I think she lashes out. The things that she says that are so mean, she says so quickly, but then I see there actually is remorse and regret with her. And I think that as I remember watching you going through some of those similar things, growing up on this show where some of the other women are a little bit older than you, and you're still kind of finding who you are as a woman. I know you're a fan of Monique, but can you also relate to a character like Candace who's just lashing out, saying things, and then regretting it later?
Yeah, I actually know Candace and I like her, so it's hard for me to not like her because I got a chance to work with her outside of Housewives, and she's the sweetest woman in the world, and she's great. But, when you're thrown into this, these older ladies that are maybe threatened by her, and she feels she has to, keep her spot, keep her job, you know what I mean? I like them both. I wouldn't even be able to pick. I don't want anyone physically fighting. I did not like that, but I couldn't even, it's like picking between your favorite children. I always say, I have a favorite kid of the day, and so that's how it goes.
That's fair. I like that.
Yeah. So let's leave that at that because I don't want to get into debate with you again. But specifically, so you are watching the Beverly Hills reunion, and it just wrapped. And so from what you've seen, What are your thoughts on this season and how everything's playing out?
Gosh, I just feel like, I just talked about this like incessantly yesterday, but it's hard. It's hard to watch because this is like real life shit. Somebody could be going to jail. Marriages are breaking up. I like it when it's a little more fluffy. Like, it's like, Puppygate was great for me. I loved Puppygate. Like, I don't know. This is some real shit. And I know the girls. So it's hard for me to take a side, or it's really sad. I have to give it up to Erika for showing up. Like, she did not need to show up. Like, she could have pulled a Denise and just quit filming because,
or Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah, I quit before the reunion because she didn't want to face the music. Like, but she's showing up. People are saying, yes, she needs to check. Well, yeah, but she's also knowing she has to talk about this. And that's hard. So I have to give it up for her. I mean, and how do you navigate that? You're f***ed if you do, you're f***ed if you don't.
Right.
Like, she cannot do anything right. And every single scene, they pile on to her. And like, I just felt like, give the bitch a break. I mean, I don't know what she knew or didn't know. I know when I was married, like, I'm a bad bitch. Get it? Like, she's like me. Like, we always like, we're badass bitches. But my role with Eddie was he was the boss, and I felt like a girl. Like, that was I didn't ever see a bill. I had a credit card with my name on it. My name wasn't on anything. So I feel like she had a daddy. Like, I had that daddy relationship with Eddie. Her happened, he's a lot older, but he was, if you've met them, and I have, he was in charge. Like, when it came to Erika, like, that was their dynamic. So I believe her. She's not going to be going, oh, so where'd this money come from? Like, you don't ask. I never asked. I never said, hey, I need to see your cell phone bill, which I should have. But I just wouldn't.
You said, which I should have.
Yeah, well, you bring up a really good point, though, and I think that you say damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's interesting because the dynamic of those, the makeup of people who watch this show, by and large, are just average Americans across the country who can't understand that, who can't understand the concept of millions and millions of dollars and all of the power and privilege that comes along with that. And I do personally know Erika. I've known her for years. We've worked together many times. She's literally the cover quote on my book. Her name is right there, and the quote is so iconic too. It's perfect for what she's going through right now. But I think you're so right. Like, the victims angle of it is what I think is so difficult for people, and it's so hard to wrap your brain around that. But she has not been accused of a crime.
No,
and he has. And if he's doing these things, there's a lot of stuff she can't talk about right now. But I do think as the reunion went on, because I've been uncomfortable, people always ask me, they're like, Erika, like, she's a friend of yours, what do you think? And I'm like, I know the Erika that I know. And she's always been so gracious and so kind and so giving and generous to me that I don't want to speak on that thing. I hope she knows nothing. I really don't think, I think obviously when things started to come out, she figured it out because she's the very smart woman. But I don't see her as going along with something like that because she's a kind person as well. And, she's very stoic, and she doesn't say a lot, but when she says it, it counts. And people take that as not being sympathetic, but they don't actually know her. And I feel like she's learning about this, maybe a little bit before everyone else, but like going, oh my God, my whole life is over. It's in shambles. And she's also then leaving this man that she spent 30 or 20 years with, whatever. Like, it's too much at one time to process for one person. Yeah. She strikes me as one of those characters. There's like archetypes on all of these shows, right? And I think of Erika Jayne, and she, to me, is a character kind of like you, or kind of like Kenya Moore, or kind of like Bethany Frankel. You all have this like really tough exterior, and you're sharp with your tongue, which is a gift and a curse, right? Yeah. And then, but underneath it, when people react that way, sometimes to stop and actually ask, okay, what's really going on? Like, they feel misunderstood right now. They feel ganged up on. They feel like that they're actually. It gets you mad. It gets you defensive, and that is what people aren't liking. But I mean, I would probably be in the same boat. I'm so sympathetic. Obviously, I know that she's sympathetic for what's going on, but she can't say, oh, I'm sorry for the victims, because then it's saying, yes, that Tom is guilty. Like, she has to walk a tightrope legally. She has to be really careful with what she says. And I think that she's done a good job with that. I just feel like
like she said, she's damned if she does, she's damned if she doesn't, and that's it. Like she's kind of screwed.
Yeah, we just got to be patient, see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
I appreciate that perspective, Brandi. I really like that.
It's definitely a lot to unpack, but it made for, unfortunately for her, but it did make for a very interesting and exciting season.
And honey, rumors are they're already filming right now, and she's going to get a pay bump this year, honey.
Yeah.
She better.
I know for a fact that they're filming because they filmed a couple of things that I was invited to that I didn't like by the people, but not by Bravo. So I'm not showing up if I'm not getting paid. As much as I want to go there and be like, oh, okay, here, let's do this party. I'm not. Yeah, no.
Because if you show up there and be like, oh, let's mic Brandi up, I'm like, no.
Where's my contract?
So, I know that they're filming. It's slow, like they just started, but they don't want to miss anything. Like,
of course not.
It's too much is happening.
Yeah,
juicy. Let's
Okay,
get back to some juicy confessions.
Yes. Okay, so this comes from anonymous male. My secret is that I was diagnosed with autism, but nobody knows.
Oh, that's sad.
My aunt Theris was a autistic teacher for over 30 years, I think. And I went to her classroom once, and she would just tell me the stories of the kids that she taught, and just seeing their relationship and seeing how they interacted in that safe space, because that is a real thing, like having a safe space when you're dealing with that.
A lot of people don't share it. Yeah, my niece is autistic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And
she doesn't lead with. She's in 8th grade right now, but she doesn't lead with that. So, it's not that it's something that you hide, but if you get to know her, she'll talk about it. But it's not something you just lead with for her. I think everyone's different. Some people, want it right out there. She's okay with me talking about it because I talked to her about that a long time ago when I was talking about it on a podcast. But, I think everyone, if they want to share, they should.
I think it's interesting because some of those brilliant minds in history have been autistic, and we view certain things as a
disability. I don't think
in somebody.
I don't think it. Like my niece is so smart, and like she can like put numbers together faster than anyone I've seen in my life, and she is just incredible. So I wouldn't even, if I didn't know, I wouldn't, like if I wasn't her aunt, I wouldn't know. And, it's just, I feel like it's your choice if you want to share that. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, my son is dyslexic, and I always tell him, I'm like, look, Tom Cruise is dyslexic. Like, some of the smartest people in the world are, so, we all deal with things in different ways. So if they feel ashamed of it, then they should talk to somebody, because it's nothing to be ashamed of.
And I think that's if you're listening, anonymous male, I think that's kind of what it is. Being gay and having autism are not the same.
Sure.
But for me, and I'm sure for you, I'm not going to speak for you, but when I was in the closet, it was such an uncomfortable feeling. It wasn't that I wanted to just announce to the world, like, hey, I'm gay. Well, I kind of did. But it was hard not having my family know, not having my friends know, and keeping that secret to myself. So it might not... Right, and it might not be necessarily they want to lead with it. They want that to define them. But I think having somebody else besides your doctor to talk about these things with, even if they are presenting themselves in a way where you don't know that they were diagnosed with autism, just having allies or somebody to talk to and have these conversations with, I think.
Well, because
it's not comfortable to have a secret. Like I don't have secrets really. I mean, I'm trying to find one for you girls, but I was like, ooh, what betrayal? All right, I'll think about it. But it's not comfortable carrying that weight with you when you just want to live your authentic self.
No, that's exactly it, Brandi. It's not actually about the secret. It's about the weight of carrying the secret. And that can be so difficult. And it's just also how we view people who are quote unquote different, whatever that means. And maybe as a woman or as queer men, like we have a little bit more empathy, right? But I grew up with a sister with special needs. Unfortunately, she passed away when she was 15. But through that, because of her, we got to volunteer a lot with the community with children with special needs. And I think Down syndrome always pops up for me as something that society might view as a negative. And if you've ever met someone with Down syndrome, they're the kind,
happiest people
loving,
and loving. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be nice if we could all learn a thing or two about being happy like that on a day-to-day basis? So
yes,
listen,
exactly.
I'm in therapy trying to find that joy right now. Literally.
Me too.
Yeah. So anonymous male. Listen, you're supported here. We love you, and you are perfect just the way that you are. And reveal that to whomever, whenever you choose to. What's our next secret?
All right, this is from Anonymous Male, Kentucky.
I have family in Kentucky.
Not betrayal, but one late night, I was in the mood and feeling kinky, so I took my massage gun. Wow! Oh wow!
Yeah.
Held it to my lower gooch.
What's your lower gooch?
Is that like your taint?
Why are you? I don't have a gooch. I have a gooch.
Wait, look on your phone while I'm reading the secret. Look up male gooch and see what comes up.
Male gooch.
So I'm going to start over just so we understand. Not betrayal, but one late night I was in the mood and feeling kinky, so I took my massage gun, held it to my lower gooch, turned it on the highest setting, and my soul left my body, toes curled and all.
Yeah, the perineum in humans is the space between the anus and scrotum.
Oh,
Yep,
okay, so the taint.
The taint.
Perineum. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. I've never heard it called a gooch, though.
I haven't either.
He's from Kentucky, though. It's like Appalachian Kentucky, because that's a whole different world.
Well, here's the thing. We have quite a few massage guns here, and do we need to try this? Because apparently...
Yeah, that's a very, very erogenous area, I think, for everyone, for men and women.
Also, I love that they said, not betrayal, but I want to get this off my chest.
I think that might have been a brag moment. Another brag, but I like it.
Right?
Well, it's so interesting because there's certain things that are considered like gay or like not right in sex. Like when it comes to sex, like what is your motto been? Has it changed over the years? Are you like open to things? Or are there some things that are just off limits?
No, nothing's off limits. I mean, I will try. If I want to do it, I'll do it. I always say I'm not straight. I'm crooked as f***. Like it is what it is. Like I just do what turns me on and feels good in the moment. And whoever it's with. Like, I don't know. I'm very just crooked.
That's right. Anonymous. Anonymous male, Kentucky.
Congratulations. I'm jealous.
And so just because you just said what you said, and I don't need you to give me what you actually think. But last year's big storyline was obviously Denise and Denise and Lisa Rinna. Garcelle, a friend of both of them, still upset with Lisa Rinna. It's carried over into this season about what may or may not have gone down with Denise, right? And I'm curious, like, do you think that storyline was actually about betrayal? Do you think the storyline was actually about a friendship being broken? Or do you think the storyline was actually about a little bit of homophobia going on based on what Denise may or may not have done, allegedly? Like, what do you think was actually happening?
I really think it was a little bit of everything. And the fact that people were so outraged that I felt like that was homophobia. Like, oh my God. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? You did that with a girl? Like, oh my God. I'm like, I mean, come on. Where have you bitches been? Like we're in, 2021. We're all doing whatever we want with whoever we want. Like get involved. I do kind of feel like Garcelle was being a good friend to Denise by like kind of fighting her battles. You want someone to fight your battles for you, but Denise was doing a disservice to her friend Garcelle because she's lying. So you want someone to fight your battles, but you want them to be the right battles. And then I don't understand why it carried over to between Garcelle and Lisa Rinna, to be honest. I feel like it doesn't really have anything to do with Garcelle, really. So, I mean, there's a little bit of everything in it, but... Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating to me. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it did break up, a friendship between Denise and Garcelle, Denise and Lisa Rinna, and Lisa Rinna and Garcelle. I mean, she was obviously friends with both of them. So I think it is unfortunate.
We kind of talked about that because I think what it comes down to and why the Lisa Garcelle thing happened is because if I saw you do this to my friend and then you are claiming to be my friend and we've been friends for years, then how can I trust that you won't do that to me? So, and then now that we see, and especially when there's a juicier storyline, that sometimes they get back to filming sooner than normal. It was still a fresh wound. And so we started it and you can kind of give us some insight because we're not on a reality show. We're not on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So after filming for a season ends, why did my voice just crack? After filming for a season ends, what is it like in between that time? Like, because I know everybody acts like they're friends on the show and they're super close, but is it really that you stop filming and then months go by and you're like, oh, how are you? Like, I'm seeing you for the first time because I haven't talked to you since.
You do, because you need a break. You're seeing them. You're going on vacation with them. You don't get to see your actual friends. And this happened to me. My friends thought because I started this show, I kind of like dissed them a little bit, but it wasn't that. You don't have any time. So it's like I would try to bring my friends on the show as much as possible because I felt like I wasn't trying to leave friendships, but it's hard because it's all consuming. It takes up your whole time. It's all this drama and your friends don't want to hear about it. I mean, some of them did, to be honest, but it's hard. But when you finish, you want a break. You don't talk to like, it's like, that was a lot. I love you. I'm going to process this. This reunion's coming up. And then we'll start again. So yeah, you can still be truly friends with people and not hang. I mean, I hung out with like one person like during a break. You know what I mean? Like a couple of times. I needed a break.
Yeah.
You know, everyone needs a break. Yeah. It's very rare that you hang out.
You don't I think people, average viewers, unless you're in this city and you understand this game, right? Average viewers don't quite understand what's always going down. And I thought, and I'm glad you said it, because I think there was some homophobia involved in the Lisa Rinna thing. And not that I think Lisa Rinna is homophobic, because I know her well. I also know her as well. And yeah, I don't think she's homophobic at all, but I think that as a group collectively, there was this narrative that was being formed about Denise. And I was like, Denise, you're lying the whole time. But then also, I was okay with it because I was like, you don't know what her relationship is with her husband. So I don't know.
Like, she might have been in, like we've all heard now, there's like rumors that like that relationship did seem a little off to me. And I was around them outside of cameras and I had the same feeling. You know, it just seemed like, you know, Aaron's in charge. He's the man. And I maybe she's fearful of saying something I don't know. I mean, I was so confused by the whole thing because the conversations we all had, I thought they were good to go.
Well, it took me back to, I remember a few seasons ago when Lisa Rinna asked Dorit if people were doing coke in her bathroom at a dinner party. Remember, that was like an iconic scene, right? And I watched that, and the reaction that the world had to that, similarly to the reaction people had to this Denise story, to me, I was like, with Denise, I'm like, I don't care if you have an open relationship. I don't judge that. A lot of my friends have those, and I'm open to that. So why are people so upset? Also, I was like, when she asked Dorit, and Dorit was so shocked, I was like, yeah, people probably were. It's Hollywood. Like,
for sure they were. Like, they did a close. I don't know that who was doing it, but there was a point where they did a close up on Dorit, and she was like sniffling, and then that's what went through my head. And then Lisa Rinna said it. Not that Dorit was the one doing it, but I was like, ooh, someone.
Well,
but again, I'm like, if you are, I don't have any judgment.
But that's the thing.
By the way, it's Los Angeles, and probably everyone at the table was in the bathroom doing it, like, separately. So,
but that's where. Yeah, that's where it gets complicated with reality shows, though, because we're on a reality show, there's certain things that you are real, you're revealing, you're authentic for TV. You're not revealing everything. Like, I'm not going to get on TV and reveal out my friends who I know just did coke in the bath, because I've had many friends. I worked in restaurants for years. Like, I know like plenty of people who are doing it all the time.
But in Middle America or the Deep South, where these viewers are, that doesn't translate. That doesn't make sense.
You're doing meth over there, silly. I'm kidding.
But also true. Yeah. All right, let's go on to our last secret. We have one more?
Yes.
Okay.
I will say that really quickly.
Yes.
Lisa Rinna is a truth seeker. I love her. I feel like on this show, she's being the best housewife she can be by finding the truth, no matter if it's with their friend or whatever. Obviously, with Erika, she has to be a little more buttoned up because of the legal issues, but she wants to get to the truth. Like, she's being the best housewife she can be, and I'm here for it.
I do. I agree with you, because Lisa, again, I know her personally, but not well, but we've worked together over the years, and I think that she's also... I think she's one of the best housewives that have ever been on the show of any franchise.
She's a very, very hard worker, and no matter what she does, she puts 100% effort into it. So if she's going to do acting on a show, she's going to be the best she can be. If she's going to do Broadway, she's going to be the best she can be. If she's going to do Housewives, she's going to be the best fucking housewife she can be. Like, she's a hustler, and that's what I respect about her.
Love or hate Lisa Rinna, she is entertaining to watch on Real Housewives.
I adore her. All right, last question.
All right, anonymous male,
confession.
Chicago. I had a sexual relationship with a DL married man and his kid. I had a sexual relationship with a DL married man, met his kids, and continued it for a while. It's over now, but once in a while, he'll still hit me up.
That's more common than you think.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like on the DL, like on the down low?
On the down low, yeah.
Okay. I was thinking something else.
So it's a straight man, well, bisexual, but has children and is married.
So the betrayal is that he slept with a DL married man
And met the kids, though. Is that weird? Like, is that the
kids,
weird?
Yeah, bringing the kids into it, that's a little suspect, because maybe if they're babies and they're not going to remember, I don't know.
But also,
Why would you
context.
do that?
I need see. Here's the thing with certain. I say this every single week with certain secrets. I need more details. Like, what is the context? Like, in what way did you meet the kids? Like, was it you just happened to be out with them and they're like, oh, these are my kids, or was it like
or are you spending Easter together, like having a hand?
Or like how home and be like, oh, hey, this is my pal. You know?
Oh my gosh! Now, see, that's the tea I want to know. Like, you're over getting.
Brandi, do you have rules or guidelines for when you bring somebody home? You've got teenagers, so they're obviously going to remember.
Yeah. They don't count. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. But I say that unfortunately, I really rarely brought men around my kids because I thought I was protecting them. But really, to be honest, I needed to find a balance where I could have boyfriends, because I was living a double life. I had super mom and kids, and then I was super slut and wild the next week because they would go to their dads. And so I needed to find a way to marry that, and I didn't. So for the longest time, I feel like I made a mistake. But I do think that you only bring people around your kids that are serious, not like the one night stand guys. Like you bring someone when you know it's going to be a minute.
Oh, that's good advice. We've got just a few minutes left in our pod. I think it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Brandi Glanville, it's time for you to confess your mess.
Okay, Jesus. Okay, so there was a guy that I was dating, but we were on a break, much like Rachel and Ross. We took a break. He was driving me fucking crazy, but I was lonely. So I called him. I'm like, hey, I want to make dinner, his favorite dinner, of course, because I just want him to get laid. But I was like, hey, you want to come over? You know, and so he came over. And
what was the dinner?
Beef stroganoff.
Oh, wow. There's so many jokes I can make right now.
I know. Exactly. And I'm making dinner. I get a text from this guy in New York that I had a huge crush on. And he's like, hey, I'm in LA. Do you want to go to the movies? Which meant like Netflix and chill. And I was like, ooh, yeah. Like, I lied to this person in my kitchen, and I said I had to go to Sacramento for a family emergency. I took an empty duffel bag, or a roller bag, got in a taxi to go to David's house while he cleaned up my kitchen and walked my dogs.
Oh my gosh!
Well, did he eat the dinner? Did he take it home with him?
Yeah,
what happened to the beef stroganoff?
I left in the middle. I finished making it. I'm sure he did. I came home to a clean kitchen, and
Did you ever go on a date with him again later down the road?
Right.
Oh yeah, we got back together.
Oh my gosh!
And then I did tell him. And it's not good. That we ended up breaking up basically because of that, but we were on a break. I got a better offer. Listen, I was a bad girl. I wanted this guy in New York really badly, and he happened to be in town at my friend's house. And
so mid stroganoff, you grabbed a taxi for some dick.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the beef? It's not here. I'm going to get it.
Oh my god!
I know. It was very shady of me. But
that was a betrayal. Yep.
Yeah, it was a betrayal.
Yeah, that's right.
But we were on a break. I just happened to have invited him over that day. So that's where I'm like, we were on a break. He's like, you can't keep saying that. I'm like, we were.
As you're having beef stroganoff. Didn't even make it to the stroganoff.
My lord. Okay, really quickly before we let you go, you have a lot of opinions, and I know you know all things Real Housewives. I'm a huge fan. I watch every single cast except for Salt Lake City. I cannot get into those bitches.
We watched one episode. We watched one episode, and multiple people have told us how great the show is, and we need to watch it. And he did not go. I always say with any show, you have to watch at least 3 episodes before you form an opinion, and he will only watch one. Thank you. He will only watch one episode, and he has a strong opinion. I'm like, there's literally a woman. I don't know the characters because I don't watch it, but there's a woman who's going through all this legal stuff, and people are like, Emile, it's so good, you have to watch.
Wait, Jen Shaw? Is that her name?
Yeah.
I know that because I have a radio show, so I have to learn about these things, but I don't know who she is.
No, you need to watch it because there's this lady, Mary, and Mary is everything.
Married to her grandfather?
Yes, but she's crazy. She says the craziest shit in her confessionals. Like, "Ooh, he smells bad," and I'm like, "You can't. People are going to see this." And she's like, "Oh, that's my cousin. He's the worst contractor. He's so irresponsible." I'm like, what are you doing?" And she is like, Mary is everything to me. And she's so delusional and hilarious. You have to watch, just watch, fast forward to her parts, because they are everything.
I put them on that track with like Miami early season. Like I was like, I'm not into it. I don't really care. Yeah. Or DC, back when that happened, that was weird. Quickly before we let you go, 3 Housewives, any franchise you think that Bravo needs to bring back immediately?
I think Phaedra, 100% to Atlanta. I don't think she would do it, but I love her. We're friends, and she's amazing. I thought she was a huge part of the show.
Yep.
And hilarious, and she still works on dead people. That's so interesting to me.
Yes, that part.
Let's see, who else? I do think Jill Zarin should go back on New York, right?
Yes.
Like, she just fits in perfectly with the older girls, not the younger girls. I just don't. It doesn't gel to me. They would never be hanging out in real life.
Yeah. Nope.
So yeah, Jill Zarin, New York, and who else? Who else is there? Tell me, what other franchise am I missing?
Jersey, Orange County, Beverly Hills.
Trying to think of who left.
Potomac.
Monique on Potomac, but she left. I don't think she was fired. I think she left.
Yeah.
Which the rest of us were fired. Let's be honest.
Okay, so then 3 Housewives who should be fired right now. Go.
Fired right now?
Yeah, who's gone? Who's not bringing the storyline?
Well, I already said Tamara and Vicky, and then they got fired, so I feel like I might have some witchcraft in me, so let's be careful.
Okay, so one name then. We can say Tamara and Vicky count as 2. Then is there one more that you think is just boring you?
Yes, Wendy on Potomac.
Wow.
Wendy Osefa. Oh.
I wasn't expecting that one.
I just feel like she turned so housewife so quickly. Like she quit. Like she was a professor. I had such respect for her. She was doing everything. All of a sudden, she got a BBL and some titties, and she had a nose job, and she got a candle she's trying to sell. And where I want to see the professor. I felt like it needs to take you a few seasons to get to where she's at. And so I don't like when they go housewife immediately. And I respect that she's a professor and all, and that's what I found interesting. But now, like, that she's talking about a fucking candle.
That's real, because Robin and Giselle, that's been their complaint the entire season. As much as they can be problematic sometimes,
like, who is this girl? Yeah. Who are you?
Do you like Mia?
I do. I really actually like her. Yeah, I do.
She's growing on me.
She's interesting. Exactly.
I think she really.
Sometimes she just says shit to say shit, and I don't really like that. But I feel like just hearing about her mom and seeing her husband, I feel like there's some more shit that we're going to find out.
Oh, totally.
And
what I love about her is, from what we've seen so far, she can be controversial, but she also owns up to her shit in her confessionals, which I actually appreciate that.
I do. And also her husband, G, is problematic as and I love him for it.
Exactly. we need some good problematic husbands, because that is good TV. So
well, some entire cast have no husbands, so I'm
last thing. Every single episode we do a takeaway of the day. So what is your takeaway of the day from this episode?
That Xanax works, because I took a half of Xanax before we started, because all the boxes and shit around me, and I thought it was going to be horrible and not funny or interesting, but it really grounded me. So thank you, 1.0 of Xanax.
Thank you, Brandi Glanville.
Thank you so much.
You're a rare gem. Thank you so much for your time. And make sure you go check out Brandi's podcast, Brandi Glanville Unfiltered by Straw Hut Media. Our boy Ryan's on there too.
Yep.
And get my books, Drinking and Tweeting and Drinking and Dating. And that's it. And follow me on social. I don't post that much.
Well, unless she drinks Chardonnay, then she posts on Twitter.
Ooh,
yeah.
I hid my phone from myself after the third
Oh my gosh.
Stupid.
Oh my god.
And then the next day I'm like, find my iPhone, and it's in the house somewhere random.
That's hilarious.
Well, thank you for your time. Good luck with the move.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna need it. All right.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Confess your mess.
Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh.